The galaxy trembles as news of a human colony's destruction spreads. Alien powers revel in their arrogance, believing Earth's retaliation impossible. Yet on the ground, humanity's silence is deadly, their calm a mask for a brewing storm. A symbolic countdown pulses across star charts as Commander Alara Dane delivers a chilling warning. Vengeance will come with a fleet unmatched in scale and fury. The balance of power shatters as 700,000 warships mobilize for retribution, a reckoning no one saw coming. They burned New Dawn to ash. The words cut through the War Council chamber like a serrated blade. Commander Alara Dane's voice was calm, but unyielding as the holographic image of a shattered world floated before the assembly. The room was vast, carved from obsidian and steel illuminated by flickering stars beyond reinforced glass walls. Representatives of the Zelnar Empire, the galaxy's arrogant hegemon, sat in polished chairs, their faces twisted with smug triumph. One snarled, "A primitive outpost." A warning to Earth not to meddle. Alara's eyes, dark and unblinking, swept the room with silent fury. Her fleet insignia gleamed on her chest, the mark of a soldier who had seen more than her share of death. "Their arrogance is their undoing," she said, voice low but resolute. Behind her a colossal star map pulsed, dots of light flickering as human colonies blinked on and off, one now a cold void. The countdown timer at the map's corner ticked downward, a silent reminder. She turned slowly, eyes piercing. They think they've won. They're not ready for what's coming. A tense silence filled the chamber as the colossal doors thundered. Shut behind her, her message clear, humanity's vengeance had begun. As news of New Dawn's fall ignites fury across humanity, Commander Alara Dane leads the massive fleet assembly, the largest humanity has ever mustered. Across alien worlds, shock and disbelief ripple through empires blinded by arrogance. Behind Earth's cold exterior lies a lethal precision, technology, forged in hardship, tactics born of survival, and an unbreakable will. As 700,000 warships converge, the galaxy braces for a reckoning that will change history forever. The vast assembly halls of Earth Command thrummed with relentless energy. Commander Alara Dane stood before the grand holo display, her face lit by a sea of stars, planets, and the colossal array of warships that flickered like fireflies ready to ignite a storm. 700,000 warships, numbers that defied belief, fleets that spanned entire star systems forged from the remnants of humanity's darkest trials. Their steel hulls whispered stories of sacrifice and survival. Their engines hummed with a promise of destruction unparalleled. Alara's voice cut through the charged silence. The galaxy believes. We are fractured, weak and isolated. They thought New Dawn's fall would break us. Instead, it has forged us anew. In the observation gallery behind her, the faces of Earth's highest generals and engineers reflected a spectrum of determination, grief, and cold purpose. Every ship, every soldier, every weapon is a message, she continued. We will answer, fire with fury. We will reclaim what was lost and remind the galaxy why humanity is never to be underestimated. Far beyond Earth's system, in the imperial spires of the Zelnar Empire, news of the fleet's mobilization tore through the halls like wildfire. Emperor Vile Thor stood motionless as his advisors scrambled to interpret the overwhelming scale of humanity's response. Our calculations were flawed, the chief strategist admitted, eyes wide with dread. They have amassed a force beyond our worst predictions, 700,000 warships. Vile Thor's voice was cold steel. Then we prepare. This is no longer a border skirmish, this is total war. The alien empires scrambled, fleets raced to assembly points, defense protocols activated, and diplomacy collapsed under the weight of impending annihilation. In the shadowed alleys of the mercantile hubs, traders whispered dark rumors. Humanity will not forgive. The galaxy will burn. The old order is dead. Back at Earth Command, the war room buzzed with relentless strategy sessions. Lieutenant Marissa Hayes presented the latest advances in quantum weaponry and fleet coordination systems. Our networked AI allows seamless, real-time tactics across thousands of ships. We move as one, faster and smarter than any enemy. General Nadia Zhang stood beside her, voice unwavering. This is our edge. Technology born from necessity, hardened by war. Our enemies think they know us. They don't. Commander Alara Dane strode the length of the flagship Avenger's Vow, inspecting her crew, their faces illuminated by emergency lighting and the distant glow of distant stars. Her second-in-command, Captain Jalen Miles, approached quietly. "Commander, all squadrons report ready. The fleet waits only on your command." Alara's eyes burned with the weight of responsibility. "Then we remind the galaxy what it means to awaken humanity's wrath. Deep within the core of the Avenger's Vow, engineers monitored the power systems of the ship's newest weapon, a gravity well generator capable of swallowing entire fleets. "Systems green," the lead engineer reported. "Ready on your order." Alara nodded. "Hold. This weapon is not for show. It's our reckoning." The fleets assembled in the dark space between stars. Human warships blotted out sectors of space, an unyielding force ready to surge forward. Sensors scanned endlessly for enemy movement. The stillness was thick with anticipation. Alara stood on the command deck, eyes fixed on the flickering holograms of distant enemy worlds. "They do not yet grasp what we bring," she whispered. "They will learn, and when they do, there will be no mercy." Thousands of human pilots prepared for their first sortie. In briefing rooms, quiet prayers were whispered, hands clenched around helmets, hearts steeled against the coming storm. For many, this was revenge. For all, survival. On a distant alien colony, intercepted transmissions cracked and fizzled. Human fleet detected, massive mobilization, 700,000 warships. Panic rippled through command centers. "They cannot be allowed to reach us," an alien commander growled. "Prepare for annihilation." Back on Earth Command, the final countdown began. 30 minutes to jump, Alara announced. The warships, engines roared to life, blue fire erupting into the void. 700,000 vessels surged forward. An unstoppable tidal wave of humanity's wrath. In the cold silence of space, the first shot rang out. The galaxy's deadliest war had begun. Human fleet plunges into enemy territory with ruthless precision. Commander Alara Dane orchestrates a series of devastating strikes on the Empire that destroyed New Dawn. Alien fleets, caught off guard by humanity's overwhelming numbers and advanced tactics, struggle to mount effective defenses as entire star systems fall. The emotional weight of vengeance and sacrifice bears down on the fleet's crews. The galaxy witnesses a terrifying new force, ruthless and unyielding. The stars ahead were not just distant suns. They were targets. Planets that had once been home to vibrant colonies, now marked for retribution. Commander Alara Dane stood at the center of the Avenger's Vow's command deck, her gaze fixed on the vast holographic display unfolding before her. 700,000 warships, each a dagger pointed directly at the heart of the Zelnar Empire. Her voice, steady and cold, echoed over the bridge. "Initiate the first phase of Operation Retribution. Engage all squadrons." The fleet erupted into synchronized motion. Fighters launched in waves, capital ships shifted formation, and missile batteries locked onto strategic targets. The deep space silence shattered into chaos. Lieutenant Marissa Hayes coordinated the distributed AI command network. "Target clusters locked. Wave 1 launching in T-minus 60 seconds. Alara's eyes never left the map. Precision strikes. Only, we cripple their command nodes, disrupt communications, and sow panic. Across the enemy's front lines, alarms screamed in frantic warning. Imperial admirals scrambled their fleets, but the sheer scale of humanity's assault overwhelmed their defenses. "Human ships in Sector 7, a commander shouted. "They breach our perimeter!" Yet despite frantic efforts, entire squadrons were decimated by the combined firepower of coordinated human volleys and tactical drone swarms. On board the Avenger's Vow, Captain Jalen Miles monitored combat feeds, his jaw clenched. Enemy flagship crippled, secondary targets hit. Losses minimal so far. Alara nodded sharply. "Keep pressure, no mercy." Her eyes flicked to a communications panel where intercepted distress signals from New Dawn played on loop, a haunting reminder of the price paid. Among the fighters, rookie pilot Tessa Kim gripped her controls as her squadron dove into the fray. "Stay tight, stay focused," her flight leader's voice crackled. "We're the vanguard. Make every shot count." Blaster fire lit the void, explosions blossoming as enemy ships ignited under precise salvos. Tessa's heart pounded, not from fear, but from fierce determination. Every life lost at New Dawn fueled her resolve. As the battle raged, the galaxy watched in stunned silence. Alien news feeds buzzed with disbelief. The humans move as one, 700,000 ships, an unstoppable force. In diplomatic halls, panic erupted. Efforts to negotiate were drowned by the roar of war. Back on the Avenger's Vow, Alara addressed her officers. Phase 2 begins. We push deeper, target orbital defense grids and supply lines. Engineering reports crackled in. New gravity well generators online, ready to deploy. Alara's lips curved slightly. Then let's bury them in darkness. In the shadow of distant moons, entire fleets found themselves caught in crushing gravity wells. Ships dragged into crushing orbits, helpless under relentless assault. Enemy commanders scrambled to regroup, but the human onslaught shattered their formations, fracturing resistance into chaos. Among the fleet, moments of quiet valor emerged. Lieutenant Marissa coordinated rescue. Efforts for damaged ships, her voice calm amid the storm. "We are not just destroyers, we are protectors of our own." Elsewhere, Captain Jalen Miles led a boarding party onto a crippled enemy dreadnought, securing critical intel to fuel future strikes. Yet victory was costly. On the command deck, Alara's face betrayed the weight of lives lost. "This is war," she whispered, "not glory." In the depths of space, the war continued to spiral, humanity's vengeance a tidal wave, consuming all opposition. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy saw what it meant when humanity chose to fight with everything it had, the brutal campaign. To reclaim humanity's lost colony intensifies as Commander Alara Dane leads relentless strikes against the Empire's strongholds. Alien forces rally desperately, launching counterattacks that test human endurance and strategy. Behind the front lines, the emotional toll weighs heavily on crews, balancing rage, loss, and grim resolve. As battles scorch star systems and alliances, strain, humanity's war for vengeance reveals depths of both ruthlessness and unity. Space was no longer a silent void. It was a tempest of fire, steel, and willpower. Commander Alara Dane stood amid the hum of the Avenger's Vow, the flagship of humanity's largest fleet ever assembled. Her gaze was fixed on the galactic map, where red markers flickered, enemy strongholds, supply lines, and critical infrastructure targeted for annihilation. "Status report," she demanded. Lieutenant Marissa Hayes' fingers flew over the control panel, her voice calm yet urgent. "Our forces have breached 3 key sectors. Enemy resistance stiff but fragmented. Losses remain within acceptable parameters." Alara's eyes narrowed. "Acceptable for now, but the enemy adapts. You're vast. They're learning our tactics." She turned sharply to her tactical officers. "Initiate Operation Iron Hammer. We break their will by striking at their heart, decimate command centers, weapon factories, and orbital defenses. No quarter." The orders rippled through the fleet like a shockwave. Warships surged forward, capital ships leading bombardments, while swarms of fighters and drones disrupted enemy sensor grids. Amid the chaos, the human crews moved with practiced precision. The battles were brutal, close, and unforgiving. On board the Avenger's Vow, Captain Jalen Miles addressed a squadron of pilots preparing for a high-risk assault. Remember, this is not just retaliation, it's survival. Every strike brings us closer to avenging New Dawn and securing our future. The pilots' faces were a mix of determination and grim resolve as they launched into the maelstrom. In the orbital skies, above a once thriving alien industrial world, fighter squadrons clashed fiercely. Blaster fire traced deadly arcs through the void, explosions blooming like malevolent stars. Among them, Lieutenant Tessa Kim maneuvered her fighter with fierce focus, weaving through enemy fire and delivering precise strikes. Her comm crackled. Alpha Squadron, Titan formation. Target the shield generators. Disable their defenses. Far below, the planet's surface trembled as orbital bombardments decimated key military complexes. Cities burned, and millions of alien lives faced the wrath of humanity's vengeance. The alien empire scrambled to mount counterattacks. Admirals barked orders, rallying their dwindling fleets and deploying experimental weapons designed to disrupt. Human technology. One such weapon, a graviton pulse cannon, unleashed waves of crushing energy that tore through human lines. Yet humanity's advantage lay not just in numbers, but in innovation. Lieutenant Marissa Hayes activated countermeasures that dispersed the pulse energy and stabilized critical systems across the fleet. "We evolve faster than they can adapt," she reported. Alara's voice rang through the command. "Channels. Push forward, they break, we do not." Behind the front lines, the human crews faced their own battles: loss, fear, and exhaustion. In the medbay, Captain Jalen Miles visited the wounded, his face shadowed by the cost of war. "Fight for them," he said quietly, "for every life lost at New Dawn, for every soul we protect." Amidst the carnage, moments of camaraderie and hope glimmered. Pilot Tessa Kim shared a brief smile with her wingman before diving into another engagement. Engineers on the Avenger's Vow worked tirelessly to keep the massive fleet operational, their hands steady despite fatigue. As the campaign ground on, the alien empire's grip weakened. Key worlds fell to human control, and rebel factions emerged within enemy ranks, but the cost was high. Starships lost, entire squadrons decimated, and the psychological scars of war etched deep. Alara stood on the bridge late into the cycle, watching the stars and the war-torn sectors flicker on the map. "We are the storm they thought would never come," she whispered, "and we will not relent until justice is served." The galaxy held its breath as humanity's war for vengeance carved a path of fire through the stars, and still the final reckoning waited on the horizon. The human war machine grinds onward, striking deeper into enemy territory as Commander Alara Dane orchestrates a devastating campaign of tactical brilliance and brutal efficiency. Alien forces scramble to mount desperate counterattacks, but humanity's resolve remains unbroken. Amid the firestorm of war, personal stories of sacrifice and determination unfold, revealing the emotional cost of vengeance. The galaxy witnesses a new era where humanity's might reshapes the balance of power forever. The cold expanse of space was lit aflame by the relentless human assault. Commander Alara Dane stood resolute on the bridge of the Avenger's Vow, eyes sharp, heart steeled by countless battles fought and lost. Before her, the tactical display showed a swirling mass of enemy forces desperately regrouping to stem the tide. "Enemy reinforcements detected in Sector Omega-13, Lieutenant Marissa Hayes reported, fingers flying across her console. "They're deploying experimental weapon platforms designed to disrupt our fleet coordination." Alara's gaze hardened. They'll find we're more than a match, initiate countermeasures, and prepare to outmaneuver their advances. The fleet surged forward, a thunderous wave of steel and plasma, as squadrons danced through the void with deadly precision. Capital ships unleashed devastating volleys on enemy strongholds, while fighters tore through interception lines, sowing chaos. In the heat of battle, Captain Jalen Miles led a squadron of ace pilots on a daring strike mission against an orbital weapons factory. "This is it, team," he radioed. "Hit hard and fast. We cripple their ability to retaliate." The fighters weaved expertly through enemy fire, each blast from their guns and missiles a calculated strike aimed at crippling the facility's defenses. Amid the chaos, Lieutenant Tessa Kim found herself cut off behind enemy lines, her fighter damaged but her spirit unbroken. "Comms out," she muttered, scanning the swirling battle. "I'm not done yet." With quick thinking, she used the gravity wells generated by her allies to evade pursuers, turning the tide in her favor with precision strikes on supply ships. Back on the Avenger's Vow, Alara coordinated fleet maneuvers, balancing offense and defense as losses mounted. "Losses are climbing," General Nadia Zhang reported somberly. "But enemy command centers are collapsing faster." Alara nodded. "Every sacrifice brings us closer. We cannot falter." In the fleet's medbay, the toll of war was visible, soldiers bandaged and weary, faces etched with pain and determination. Alara visited quietly, offering words of gratitude and steely encouragement. "We fight for every life lost," she said softly. "Your courage carries us forward." The enemy's desperation grew. They unleashed experimental weapons that warped space-time, threatening to tear the human fleet apart. Marissa worked tirelessly to develop adaptive shields that could absorb and redirect these attacks, her brilliance a beacon in the storm. Elsewhere, political upheaval rocked the alien empire. Factions vied for control as news of humanity's unstoppable advance spread fear and dissent. Some urged surrender, others prepared for an all-out last stand. In the midst of war, moments of humanity glimmered. Pilots shared stories of home, families, hopes. Tessa wrote a letter to her younger sister promising to return. Captain Jalen held the hand of a wounded comrade, vowing to see her safe. As star systems fell, the message was clear. Humanity was a force reshaping the galaxy's destiny. Alara stood at the helm, the weight of command, heavy yet resolute. "We are the storm," she declared, "and we will not be denied." The battle raged, but the future belonged to those with the will to seize it. Humanity's vengeance was only beginning. Humanity's war effort reaches a critical turning point as Commander Alara Dane leads the fleet into a decisive battle near the core worlds of the Zelnar Empire. The alien forces rally for a desperate defense, unleashing devastating weaponry and cunning tactics. Yet human innovation, sheer numbers, and unyielding spirit turn the tide. Amid the carnage, personal sacrifices and acts of heroism emerge, painting a complex portrait of war's cost and humanity's fierce determination for justice. The endless blackness of space now burned with the fires of war. Commander Alara Dane stood at the forefront of humanity's armada, her expression steeled against the storm of stars and explosions that unfolded around her flagship, Avenger's Vow. 700,000 ships moved as one, an unstoppable tide of vengeance fueled by loss, grit, and an unbreakable will. Enemy. Forces concentrated in sectors Delta 7 and Epsilon 9, Lieutenant Marissa Hayes reported, eyes scanning the holographic displays. "They've deployed new energy barriers and gravitic disruptors to stall our advance." Alara's voice was sharp, commanding. "Countermeasures online. Prepare for full engagement. We break their lines here, or we break ourselves trying." The battlefield erupted in brilliant flashes. Plasma bolts lanced through the void. Capital ships thundered with heavy cannon fire, and fighters swarmed like swarms of deadly insects. Captain Jalen Miles led a squadron through the chaos, weaving expertly between blasts. "Stay close, watch each other's backs," he radioed. "This fight is ours." Among the dogfights, rookie pilot Tessa Kim maneuvered with desperate skill, her craft battered but unbowed. "Enemy on my tail," she shouted, twisting sharply to evade. Her wingman covered her flank, and together they unleashed a volley that sent the pursuer spiraling into the dark. The alien defense was fierce. Command centers pulsed with shields, and the air crackled with the hum of exotic weaponry. Admiral Krylos, the Zelnar fleet commander, barked orders with grim fury. "Hold the line! Crush the humans before they reach our homeworld!" But human ingenuity shone brightest in the darkest hours. Lieutenant Marissa coordinated the deployment of graviton pulse weapons, collapsing enemy formations with devastating precision. General Nadia Zhang's strategy focused on coordinated strikes and rapid adaptation. They outnumber us, but we outthink them. On the Avengers' Vow, the bridge crew fought exhaustion and despair, but their eyes burned with unwavering resolve. Alara's gaze swept across the fleet. "We fight for new dawn, for every fallen colony, for every life stolen. This is our reckoning." Below deck, engineers worked frantically to repair battle damage and boost weapon output. Lead engineer Rena Holt wiped sweat from her brow. "Systems are holding, but this fight will push us to the edge." The battle waged in waves, each surge more brutal than the last. Fleets collided in swirling maelstroms of destruction. Starships exploded in cascades of fire, and space debris glittered like malevolent stars. Amidst the carnage, acts of heroism emerged. Captain Jalen led a boarding party that seized an enemy dreadnought, turning the tide by cutting off supply routes. Pilot Tessa Kim risked her life to rescue a downed comrade, her bravery emblematic of the fleet's indomitable spirit. Yet the cost was immense. On the command deck, Alara's voice trembled only once as she spoke to the fleet. "We honor those who fell today. Their sacrifice fuels our fight." In the political corridors of the alien empire, fractures deepened. Senator Larex whispered, "This war is lost. The humans bring a fury we cannot contain." Others plotted rebellions, knowing the Empire's days were numbered. Back on the battlefield, the human fleet pressed their advantage. "Enemy lines are breaking," Marissa announced, relief mingled with fatigue. "Prepare for final push." Alara's voice rang with steel. "For humanity, for new dawn, we end this." The Avengers' Vow surged forward, leading the charge that would decide the fate of a galaxy. The final battle for the core worlds erupts in unprecedented ferocity as humanity confronts the full might of the Zelnar Empire. Commander Alara. Dane leads with tactical genius, balancing overwhelming firepower with precise strikes. Yet the enemy's desperation fuels brutal counterattacks, threatening to fracture the human lines. Amidst chaos and sacrifice, deep truths about humanity's resilience and the cost of vengeance emerge, reshaping alliances and destinies alike. The void before the core worlds was a boiling crucible of war. Commander Alara Dane stood unwavering on the bridge of the Avengers' Vow, the flagship commanding the colossal fleet of 700,000 warships. The battle-scarred starscape before her was alive with the deadly dance of light and shadow, plasma trails, explosions, and vessels locked in fatal embrace. Enemy forces arrayed in final defensive formations, Lieutenant Marissa Hayes reported, urgency lacing her calm voice. "They've activated super-heavy shields and gravity distorters." Alara's eyes narrowed. "They're desperate. So are we. Prepare all batteries and squadrons for coordinated assault." The fleet surged forward in synchronized waves, capital ships tearing into the enemy's fortifications, while fighter squadrons executed complex maneuvers to breach defenses. Captain Jalen Miles led his squadron through swirling beams of energy, targeting critical command nodes. "Focus fire on the command ship," he ordered. "Disrupt their leadership." In the thick of battle, rookie pilot Tessa Kim experienced the chaos firsthand. Enemy fighters swarmed and missiles streaked past her cockpit, narrowly missing. Her hands moved instinctively, dodging, weaving, retaliating with sharp bursts. "Alpha. Squadron, fall back to formation," her flight leader called. Across the battlefield, Admiral Korvax barked orders with fiery intensity. "Hold the line, for the Empire, for our future." Yet his voice faltered as one by one, critical systems failed under relentless human assault. On the Avenger's Vow, General Nadia Zhang monitored the fleet's status. "Shields weakening on 3 key ships," she warned. "Deploy emergency repair drones." Alara's voice was steel. "No ship left behind. Every vessel fights until the end." The battle waged for cycles, the void filled with the roar of engines and the thunder of weapons. Humanity's technological edge proved decisive. Adaptive shields, quantum disruptors, and gravity well projectors shattered enemy formations. Yet the enemy fought with savage determination, unleashing experimental weapons of devastating power. Graviton pulses tore through human lines, and nova bombs detonated, lighting space in deadly blooms. Amid the turmoil, moments of profound courage and sacrifice shone. Captain Jalen sacrificed his fighter to shield a damaged cruiser, buying precious seconds for retreat. Tessa Kim piloted a crippled craft to safety, despite grievous damage, her grit inspiring those around her. On the command deck, Alara faced the weight of countless lives. "We pay a steep price," she acknowledged. "But victory demands sacrifice." Her voice softened. "For new dawn, for all we've lost." As the final assault neared its climax, human warships focused fire on the enemy command vessel. The ship shattered in a brilliant explosion, its remnants scattering like dark stars. Enemy resistance crumbled. The core worlds fell to humanity. In the aftermath, the galaxy witnessed a new dawn, a power reshaped by fire and will. Alara stood amid the ruins of war, eyes reflecting both sorrow and hope. "Our vengeance is done, now begins our future." With the fall of the core worlds, humanity solidifies its dominance, but the price of vengeance reveals itself in weary crews and shattered alliances. Commander Alara Dane leads efforts to stabilize the galaxy, facing political intrigue, emerging resistance factions, and the challenge of rebuilding. The scars of war run deep, yet hope flickers as new bonds form, and the future of humanity among the stars begins to take shape. Undaunted, but forever changed. The cold silence of space was heavy, thick with the ghosts of battles past. Commander Alara Dane stood on the bridge of the Avenger's Vow, gazing out over the newly secured sectors. The vast fleet had quieted, starships drifting in formation like watchful sentinels guarding a hard-won peace. Enemy resistance fragmented. Lieutenant Marissa Hayes reported, voice edged with relief but cautious. "Remaining pockets are small and scattered." Alara's expression was somber. "Victory is not the end. It's the beginning of our real challenge." Across the command hall, the galaxy's factions were realigning. Alien leaders convened in hastily arranged councils, some seeking accommodation, others plotting insurgency. Senator Valina Drex extended tentative overtures to humanity, envisioning a new era of cooperation forged from fire and loss. But shadows lurked. Within Earth Command, whispers of dissent surfaced. General Nadia Zhang uncovered evidence of underground factions seeking to exploit the post-war chaos for power. "Commander," she warned, "we must be vigilant. The war may be over, but the struggle for the future has only begun." Alara nodded. Prepare counterintelligence and diplomatic outreach. We lead or we fracture. On the decks of the Avenger's Vow, crews moved with quiet purpose, tending to wounds both physical and mental. Captain Jalen Miles gathered his pilots in a rare moment of calm. "We fought for vengeance, but now we build for peace," he said. "It's a different battle, but no less important. In the far reaches of the galaxy, rebel factions stirred. The Zelnar remnants refused to accept defeat, launching guerrilla strikes that tested humanity's resolve. Tessa Kim volunteered for a special task force, her spirit undimmed despite scars of war. "We fight not just for victory," she said, "but for the future we deserve." Back on Earth, political leaders debated the scope of humanity's expansion. "How far do we reach?" some asked. "How much power is too much?" Alara's voice echoed in the council chambers. "We reach as far as justice demands. We wield our power with responsibility, lest we become what we fought against." As rebuilding began, new technologies emerged, derived from ancient precursor relics uncovered in conquered worlds. Lieutenant Marissa Hayes led teams integrating these discoveries into humanity's infrastructure, blending past and future. Yet the scars of war were deep. Memorials rose on New Dawn and across reclaimed colonies, honoring the fallen and reminding all of the cost of vengeance. Alara visited one such memorial, placing a hand on a cold stone etched with names. "We remember. We endure." The galaxy watched humanity's rise with awe and apprehension. The map of stars expanded, no longer stopping at human space, but stretching outward, bold and unyielding. Commander Alara Dane stood before her fleet one last time, before they dispersed. "Our journey is far from over," she said. "We carry the flame of humanity's spirit, bright, fierce, and eternal." The stars whispered their ancient secrets as humanity charted a new course, one forged in fire, tempered by loss, and guided by unbreakable will. The age of vengeance was over. The age of destiny had begun, with the galaxy slowly settling after. Humanity's sweeping victory. Commander Alara Dane faces new challenges: political unrest, mysterious insurgencies, and a looming cosmic threat uncovered amid the ruins. As fragile alliances teeter, the crew of the Avenger's Vow must balance vigilance with hope. Unseen forces stir, threatening to ignite a conflict beyond mere vengeance, one that will test humanity's unity and resolve like never before. The stars outside the Avenger's Vow shimmered with an eerie calm, a fragile peace hanging over the vast stretches of reclaimed space. Commander Alara Dane stood at the observation deck's panoramic window, the weight of victory mingling with the burden of responsibility pressing on her shoulders. "Victory changes nothing if we fail to hold it," she murmured, eyes tracing the distant constellations. Below decks, the hum of activity never ceased. Lieutenant Marissa Hayes reviewed reports of insurgent attacks, small but deadly strikes disrupting supply lines and communication relays in the outer colonies. "These aren't random," she told Alara. "They're coordinated, sophisticated, with access to precursor technology." Ilara's gaze hardened. "Then our war isn't over. We face ghosts of the past and threats we don't yet understand." In the political arenas of the newly formed Galactic Council, tensions ran high. Senator Valina Drex advocated for expanded diplomacy and reconstruction aid, while hardliners warned of internal saboteurs aiming to reignite hostilities. Whispers of betrayal and espionage swirled beneath every surface, fracturing trust. Meanwhile, in the shadows of forgotten worlds, a new menace stirred, an ancient cosmic force linked to the precursor ruins humanity had uncovered. Unseen by most, this entity pulsed with awareness, its influence creeping like a shadow across the stars. Back aboard the Avenger's Vow, Alara convened a council of advisors. "We face a multi-front battle: political instability, insurgency, and a cosmic unknown. She said, "Our unity and vigilance will be tested." General Nadia Jang nodded. "We're already adapting our intelligence networks to counter internal threats and external dangers." As the fleet maintained patrols and reconstruction efforts, tensions between alien allies simmered, old grudges threatening to unravel the fragile peace. Captain Jalen Miles found himself mediating disputes, his experience in battle now extended. "To diplomacy, we must remember what we fought for," he told a heated assembly. "Peace demands as much courage as war." On distant colonies, pilot Tessa Kim led reconnaissance missions into territories rife with insurgent activity. Her reports were grim: guerrilla tactics, precursor tech traps, and hints of an organization seeking to exploit chaos for darker purposes. In the Avengers Vow's war room, Marissa worked tirelessly to decrypt new data streams intercepted from insurgents. "What we're seeing suggests someone, or something, is orchestrating these attacks with a far-reaching agenda," she warned. Alara's voice was steady. "Then we find the source. We stop it before it's too late." As the fleet prepared for a series of targeted operations, an unsettling energy signature appeared near the precursor ruins, one that defied all scientific explanation. Sensors flared, systems fluctuated, and the crew braced for unknown dangers. The cosmic force's presence grew stronger, its motives inscrutable, but undeniably tied to the galaxy's fate. Alara faced the reality that humanity's greatest battle might not be against alien empires, but against a power older and more enigmatic than any had imagined. Standing once again at the observation deck, she whispered, "We've won battles, but the war for the soul of the galaxy is just beginning." As the cosmic force stirs with greater intensity, Commander Alara Dane leads a coalition expedition to investigate its origin. The fleet encounters phenomena that challenge physics and sanity alike. Political tensions escalate as factions jockey for control over the precursor technology. Amid existential threats and betrayal, humanity's leadership must navigate a labyrinth of cosmic mysteries and deadly politics, or risk losing everything they fought so hard to gain. The Avengers' Vow sliced through the swirling cosmic storm like a blade, its sleek hull buffeted by unpredictable energy waves that danced across the void. Commander Alara Dane stood resolute on the bridge, watching the warping starscapes through. The reinforced viewport. "Energy readings are off the charts," Lieutenant Marissa Hayes reported. "Temporal distortions and gravitational anomalies unlike anything we've seen." Alara's voice was steady, though her eyes betrayed the weight of uncertainty. "This is the source, the heart of the cosmic force. Prepare all systems for anomaly response." The fleet's flagship was accompanied by allied vessels from alien factions, once wary of humanity, now united by a shared existential threat. Senator Valina Drex joined the command council via secure comms. "We face a force beyond politics, and war. Cooperation is our only hope." As they neared the epicenter of the disturbances, strange phenomena unfolded. Ships flickered in and out of existence, gravity twisted, and time dilated unpredictably. Crews experienced visions, ghosts of the past, echoes of futures yet to come. Below decks, Lieutenant Marissa coordinated the deployment of quantum dampeners and temporal stabilizers, technology derived from precursor relics, but pushed to its limits. "We hold the line for now," she assured the tense bridge crew. Meanwhile, within the corridors of power, factions plotted to seize control over the precursor technology, seeing in it the ultimate tool for dominance. Whispers of sabotage and assassination threatened to tear apart the fragile coalition. Amidst the chaos, an encrypted transmission was intercepted. A cryptic message warned, "The Force is a living legacy. It tests the worthy and destroys the weak. Beware the reckoning. Alara's jaw clenched. We must be ready for anything. The fleet approached a colossal structure, a relic of the precursors, floating silently amidst the swirling energy. Exploration teams prepared to board, facing unknown dangers and the weight of millennia. As they ventured inside, reality bent. Around them, time loops, shifting corridors, and enigmatic symbols challenged their understanding and willpower. Alara led the expedition, determined to uncover the secrets that might save or doom the galaxy. Back on the Avengers' Vow, the political intrigue deepened as factions maneuvered for advantage. General Nadia Zhang remained vigilant, rooting out saboteurs and striving to keep the coalition intact. As the cosmic entity's true nature unfolded, a force of creation and destruction intertwined, Alara realized that survival meant more than just power. "It's a test," she said softly, "of who we are and who we choose to become." The galaxy held its breath, balanced on the edge of revelation and ruin. Humanity's journey into the unknown was far from over. Commander Alara Dane confronts the cosmic force within, the precursor relic, engaging in a battle of wills that transcends time and space. As political alliances fracture and insurgencies intensify, humanity faces threats both external and internal. The Avengers' Vow's crew endures staggering sacrifices, while ancient secrets reveal humanity's place in a cosmic cycle. The choices made here will decide the future of the galaxy. Between salvation and oblivion, the shimmering interior of the precursor relic pulsated with life, a living cathedral of energy and light that defied human understanding. Commander Alara Dane stepped cautiously into the heart of the structure, her senses assaulted by visions of distant stars being born and dying, of civilizations rising and collapsing in cosmic rhythm. A voice, neither sound nor thought, but both, echoed through her mind. "You who seek the legacy of creation, are you worthy?" Alara's resolve solidified. "I carry the hopes of billions. I will not falter." Back aboard the Avengers' Vow, the political landscape unraveled. Senator Valina Drex struggled to maintain fragile peace amid rising tensions and sabotage. General Nadia Zhang's counterintelligence teams uncovered traitors embedded deep within Earth Command, feeding intelligence to hostile factions. Within the relic, Alara's consciousness intertwined with the cosmic force, engaging in a struggle beyond physical limits. Time stretched and folded as memories and possibilities cascaded around her. She glimpsed the precursor civilization's final moments, their hubris, their sacrifice, and their hope that successors might do better. Outside, insurgent attacks surged across the galaxy, threatening to tear apart the newly forged alliance. Captain Jalen Miles led rapid response teams, fighting guerrilla strikes and protecting vital supply lines. The cosmic force tested Alara, probing her fears, her regrets, and her hopes. "You, and carry the burden of your ancestors," it intoned. "Will you embrace creation or destruction?" Her answer was clear: creation for all who live. The Avengers' Vow's crew fought not just external enemies, but the shadows within. Sacrifices were made, friends lost, trust broken, but the spirit of humanity endured. Alara emerged from the relic changed, bearing knowledge and power, but also a profound responsibility. "We hold the future," she said softly, "and it is fragile." The galaxy watched as humanity faced its greatest test, not a battle of weapons, but of will and wisdom. The fate of countless stars rested on choices made in the silence between war and peace. In the final chapter, humanity steps into a new galactic era, shaped by the legacy of the precursor force and the scars of war. Commander Alara Dane leads efforts to heal fractured alliances, rebuild devastated worlds, and guard against lurking cosmic threats. The sacrifices of countless souls echo through space as a cautious peace settles. Yet, beyond the known stars, mysteries endure, promising new challenges and the unending journey of humanity's indomitable spirit among the cosmos. The cold light of distant suns filtered through the observation deck windows of the Avenger's Vow, bathing Commander Alara Dane in a soft glow that belied the weight she carried. The galaxy stretched before her, vast and silent, yet alive with potential and peril. The battles were over, the fleets had dispersed, and the ruins of the past had been claimed, not without cost, but with resolve, in the newly convened Galactic. Alliance Council, diverse species gathered in tentative harmony. Senator Valina Drex spoke of unity and rebuilding, reminding all that their survival depended on cooperation and trust. Opposition still simmered, but the war's lessons tempered ambitions and forged cautious hope. Back on Earth, memorials rose. Across the colonies, honoring those who had fallen in the storm of vengeance and survival. General Nadia Zhang addressed the crowds, her voice a beacon of solemn pride. We remember our fallen not as victims, but as the architects of a new dawn. In the depths of space, teams of scientists and engineers worked tirelessly to unlock and responsibly harness the precursor technology. Lieutenant Marissa Hayes led research that blended ancient knowledge with human innovation, paving pathways to sustainable energy, exploration, and defense. Yet even as peace took root, shadows lurked. Unexplained energy fluctuations hinted at lingering cosmic forces, mysteries that defied understanding. Alara remained vigilant, knowing that peace was a fragile gift. Aboard the Avenger's Vow, Alara gathered her senior officers. "We have weathered the storm," she said, "but the universe is vast and our journey is just beginning." Her gaze swept the stars beyond, where new worlds awaited discovery and new threats loomed unseen. The crew prepared for missions of exploration, diplomacy, and defense, embodying humanity's enduring spirit, curious, resilient, and unyielding. As the galactic map expanded, the borders of human space dissolved into a horizon of infinite possibilities. Alara's voice, quiet but resolute, echoed through the fleet. Where others see darkness, we see light. Where others fear the unknown, we forge ahead. And so, the saga continued, a testament to humanity's courage, its sacrifices, and its eternal will to reach for the stars. The future was theirs to shape.